would like to thank our amazing sponsors, Touring Plans Travel. Their destination specialists work with you to plan and book your trip, whether you're traveling to a theme park, headed out on a cruise, or wanting to get away anywhere in the world. As experts in smart travel, their agents suggest the best itineraries and activities to fit your family's needs, and handle all the reservations on your behalf. There is no cost to you or your family when using Touring Plans Travel services, and you may even save some money if discounts become available after booking. So head over to touringplans.com/travel and tell them Rope Drop Radio sent you. Now, on to the show.
Helping you navigate the Disney parks.
With the hope that it will be a source of joy and inspiration to all the world.
You're listening to Rope Drop Radio.
Welcome to another Rope Drop Radio. Derek and Doug talking all things Disney. And Doug, we are recording this episode early because I will be in Aulani, Hawaii time when this show comes out. So go on to our social media pages at Rope Drop Radio and see what Aulani, Disney's own resort in Hawaii, looks like. I'll be doing live room tours. And then for Patreons, I'll be doing some bonus audio, getting my kids on there. And it'll be just a lot of fun to discuss this because this is something Doug has never done that I get to do. And then next week will be the trip report.
The question is, how many Hawaiian shirts will Derek buy in Hawaii?
Okay, I'm bringing 2.
Just so you know, any shirt you buy in Hawaii
is a Hawaiian shirt. So I bet at least one for sure. We'll see. That's a good trivia question. All right, you can ask me in the trip report. So yeah, this is a listener questions episode. You guys have asked a ton of questions, so we are going to get to those here in a second. But first,
Apple Podcast reviews. So thank you to everybody that leaves the Apple reviews. The 5 stars, we read them on air because we value your opinion or your positive feedback. I don't know, Derek. What do we value things, right?
Yes. Keep leaving them. Thank you.
All right. Best conversationalist host, 5 stars by Silverera Radikova. I'm sorry. I apologize. I know I butchered that. All right. So I'm sure some of you are like me and listen to a lot of Disney podcasts without having a trip planned. It's just nice to hear about Disney fun and dream of the next trip. These guys have the best conversations surrounding Disney. They make you feel like you're friends and just sitting on the couch chatting with you about Disney. Some of the podcasts out there are super annoying to listen to as their hosts put on fake presenter voices for some reason, and it just does not work. It's like, let's be real, people, and just talk. Well, you came to the right spots, Dave.
Yes! This is my Rope Drop Radio. I'm always this extroverted, if you want to know.
We have done this too long to be fake.
Yes, that is true. We're about to hit 7 years, by the way.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's very crazy. And yeah, this literally how we talk.
All the time.
Maybe.
Unless you're in the airport with us. If you're in the airport with us, it's a completely different conversation.
We both are different people.
Yes, you would not recognize us, and some people do, which is crazy. Anyway, we got an insane amount of questions, and we are going to have some of these are going to be a little on the rapid fire. Some of them we'll discuss, and then we have a really long one for Patreon that we'll be getting to as well. So let's dive in. I will start.
Disclaimer, start with, we're only semi-professionals.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, always consult your travel agent. They know, like, the travel agents at Touring Plans have forgotten more about Disney than we know.
Shameless plug. Touring Plans.
There
you go. And also, we start with our Patreons because they are our favorite ones to ask and answer questions to. So if you want to get your questions answered first, Rope Drop Radio Patreon, it's in the show notes. So starting with our boy CT, is the dining plan coming back?
I don't know.
No.
Sure.
No,
we're going to say no, never.
I don't think it will. No.
I think it has to.
I don't think it will. I think
it has to.
I don't think it ever will. So there you go. We are split on that one.
I think it will, but it's coming back. Okay. Someday. My children may know about it someday.
Grandchildren, maybe. So,
maybe.
All right. CT also asks, if you could resurrect a canceled project, which one would it be?
I mean, if we're being like logistically smart about this, that theater in the Magic
that's
Kingdom,
what I wrote down. Main Street Theater. Absolutely.
It's needed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just a parking lot back there.
I mean, it's going to inconvenience the VIP tours a little bit. You're going to have to park somewhere else. I don't know. I'm sure
they can find parking. There's some behind
some more
Tomorrowland.
Asphalt.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. They need that theater. What we're talking about is there was a proposed theater right behind where you meet Mickey in Tinkerbell right there off of the entrance to the Magic Kingdom. It was going to be a big
Broadway
theater.
style shows,
Yep,
like they
like what you
did in
see.
California Adventure.
Yep, and just eat up the people. It would have been. Magic Kingdom doesn't have a big show.
Yep.
I
It was
mean,
needed, and it just kind of disappeared.
and just poof.
Yep.
And
They
it
announced it,
poofed.
and then it was gone. So
It wasn't a pandemic cut either.
no,
folks.
it wasn't.
It
It was
poofed
just
before then. So
someone made a statement. I don't know.
someone value engineered it away.
There you go. Final question from CT. What is your favorite line queue pre-show? This is an easy one.
Rise of the Resistance.
Of course, because you don't know where the queue and the pre-show starts, stop, the ride starts. It's like 14 minutes of a queue.
Right. Like if the hangar is part of the pre-show, like that's
I feel like it is.
best thing
Yes.
there is. Like if you're saying it's all pre-show until I sit down in a vehicle.
That's what I assume.
Dinosaur's a close second, folks, because I can say every word of it and it's super annoying when I do that, but it's not at all the best pre-show. Okay, anyway.
I like Peter Pan, another queue that I really like. Interactive, fun.
I don't like waiting in it.
No, not at all. I agree. All right, here we go. We got a couple that are very similar, one from Chloe and Amanda. So what are your best tips and strategies for Disneyland? Amanda follows up Disneyland strategies, especially if you've always done Walt Disney World and never Disneyland.
Couple key things here. Make sure you stay somewhere or buy the correct tickets to get the early park entry. You're going to want that extra half hour. I believe there's different rules for different things, so make sure you look it up. I know that certain ones are get this at California Adventure versus Disneyland Park. So early entry, rope drop, right? There's the basics. But as far as that Disney World, Disneyland thing, you want to try to experience things that are different.
Yep.
So Mr. Toad's Wild Ride comes to mind as a favorite of mine. What about you, Derek?
Oh, I loved going to Avengers Campus because you don't get any of that at Walt Disney World. But I agree, as someone who's done Disneyland like 4 or 5 times, rope dropping that park is so critical. Staying close, even if you don't stay at one of on property, staying close by so you can get in that line because it is more of a local amusement park. People do stroll in a little bit later, so you can get quite a bit done if you get there right when the rope drops.
Yeah, and California Adventure, don't underestimate it. I know people belittled it for decades, but with Cars Land and Avengers Campus, Pixar Pier, it's got a lot going on. So don't think it's skippable, and don't be afraid to buy that hopper because it's literally feet away from each other.
They are. I agree with that. The other fun thing is when you're in Disneyland, your brain will mess with you because you've been in Disney World so much in the Magic Kingdom, and you're like, I should go left. The bathroom should be over there, but it's not there. And why is Buzz Lightyear on the other side of the road? There's a lot of comical moments that you'll have in your own brain that no one else around you will get.
Like the Holly Jolly Bakery messes with me because I'm like, why is Winnie the Pooh not in there?
Yeah. Like,
why is it not a buffet? It's just weird little things like that. And you get those same weird little things when you're in Paris even. Like, why is it's on the wrong side of the path?
It's a good one. So there you go. All right. And let us know how it goes when you go. So Mallory, if you do all 4 parks, what is your favorite order to do the parks in, or does the day of the week factor in more than others? Well, of course, the day of the week always factors in.
It depends on park hours.
Yep.
We like to try to go what stays open the latest last. Right? Because you can go late. We don't necessarily like to start with Animal Kingdom because you can be done and out of there before you can even hop now because of the stupid hopping rules.
It's going to change too. CT.
Well, if we talk about it,
it's got
the hopping rules so dumb. 2:00. So you go somewhere that's going to keep you busy and not just sit there and twiddle your thumbs waiting to hop to start. Animal Kingdom usually opens the earliest though.
When I've done all 4 parks, the one time we did start at Animal Kingdom.
And so you can get a little break and be ready to go into Epcot or Hollywood Studios. Usually we start with Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom, Epcot and Hollywood Studios in the middle because it's easy to get from one to the other via the International Gateway, either by Skyliner or walking or forcing Derek to jog, and then end at Magic Kingdom or Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom is really hard to end at though. That's early. So that's one other reason why we start there a lot of times.
And it's not a short drive from Animal Kingdom to anywhere.
No. So if say you start at Epcot and then go Animal Kingdom, you're eating up a lot of time on your second hop because that first hop should be done prior to being able to hop. So that's like negated time. It doesn't really matter. The rate limiting factor is how much time you spend hopping after 2 o'clock. You want to minimize that. So, and then make some fun game of it. Of you have to see a character picture with the icon and one ride or something.
Yep.
Have goals.
And
Don't
hopefully
just step foot in.
hopping changes when we go. There we go. Make that change.
No,
It won't.
if we say it won't, it will. It
All
will,
right.
it won't. I don't know.
Hopefully that semi answers your question.
I don't know if we did. Yeah.
I don't know. My order: Animal Kingdom first, Epcot or Magic Kingdom last. There you go. Put the other two in the middle. Holly asks, any word on 1900 Park Fair reopening?
Well, there's not a Spirit Halloween there yet.
Okay. You know what? I get that reference.
They haven't rented out the space to something else.
It blows my mind that it's not. And I'm sure by the time this show comes out, they will have done something.
How many times have we said that?
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
It's the only thing left that boggles my mind, really. Really. I can't figure out why.
And
I
it's
understand
Grand Flow
staffing.
character dining.
Like,
it's a buffet.
It's right by the Magic Kingdom.
Uh-huh.
I just don't understand its lack of opening in your flagship resort.
Yeah. Next
to your flagship park.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I haven't been there since the kids were tiny. My wife's never been there, so it's due up on the list. So
maybe that's why it won't open. They're just like, nope, can't
handle Sassman's coming.
Deprive the Sassmans of this.
There you go. All right. Wendy asks, is there a souvenir that you have to buy every trip?
No.
Oh,
no,
there is
not.
For me, a pin. I buy a pin every trip.
I used to. When I was going like once or twice a year, maybe I was getting a pin every time. But if I
stay at a new resort or do a new ride, yeah.
An opening attraction, we like to get a pin. A new resort, a pin. We also, I guess, Christmas ornaments. Every family trip, we do get a Christmas ornament. But like when it's just Michelle or I, or you and I, Derek, I don't necessarily get an ornament.
I don't always get something when it's just you and I.
With the family,
yep,
we do.
The other thing, my wife, I'm pretty sure, buys a Spirit jersey every trip at this point.
Oh, that's right.
We have a lot.
That's a lot of Spirit jerseys,
It
Derek.
is. I bet we get one in Alani and find out in our trip report.
And you wear it around Hawaii.
There you go. It's
That'd
a Hawaiian shirt. All right. And Wendy also asks, do you have a Disney display in your house?
Besides
Christmas.
Mine is right behind me. We have all of our Run Disney medals. So there was a time in our life when we ran. Maybe again.
The irony is you and I are wearing matching running shirts right now that we were not planning on doing.
And we didn't run to get them.
And we didn't run.
We worked.
I
we
did
both
work.
Worked that day. We were very busy. You were busy droning and photographing and making a video. And I was just yelling at people to stay in order.
There you go. Coach McKnight Fun Run. And so for us, we have a giant Disney wall. It goes from our main level to our basement. And so we have all sorts of decor and pictures from when we were kids, maps, things like that, that we display proudly. And my favorite display is my magnet display on the back of the door.
Oh,
so every time we leave the house, and I just added a new magnet this week. I got my D23 magnet.
Oh,
so,
exciting.
Yeah, a new one to add to the collection. The door's getting pretty full.
I forgot about the magnets. We have some on the inside on the fridge and then outside freezer. So anybody that walks into our house through the garage has to go past, 4 copies of certain magnets. Because when you're a family of 5, although we missed out on the Dumbo magnet, it's going to be done before we get down there.
Oh, Dad, you pick one up for me somehow? Anyway,
I know.
Ricardo has a ton of questions, so we're going to kind of fly through those.
All right.
What is your favorite post-pandemic after-hours event at Walt Disney World?
I haven't been to any to really truly answer this.
Halloween party?
Oh yeah, we've been
party?
to that.
Yeah.
Christmas party. Okay, I like the Halloween party.
There you go.
My bad. I was thinking of the current after hours things that are just like low crowds and you go on rides.
Nope.
Yeah,
Halloween party. That's the one I've been back to. What are Derek and Michelle's favorite characters to meet at the parks? Because I assume Doug hates them all.
Yes, facts. Ricardo gets me.
Yep. Did Michelle answer this?
I asked her, would you like to go first or you want Michelle's
What's
answer?
Michelle got?
She likes Pluto. That's her favorite character. And she likes Pluto because she doesn't have to talk to him like face characters. but Pluto always makes that weird licking sound, and
He
that
does.
is awkward.
It is. When the Mandalorian finally comes, that will be Doug
Well,
and
yeah,
I's favorite, of course.
I'm Grogu.
And
Grogu
Grogu.
is number one.
So I love to meet Mickey pretty much every single trip. The other one that I'm glad is finally back is Chewbacca, because that's just a huge one for me. And whenever I can, if I can see him again, is Scrooge McDuck. So
Yeah.
I have 3 there that I love to meet and try to meet every time because I like characters, unlike Doug.
My favorite character meet is the Doug statue in the Animal Kingdom.
That is true. And I take a picture of that every time I'm there without you.
And I get a picture with it every time. Best character meet there is. He's stone. He can't move. Can't lick me.
In fact, some of our listeners take pictures and tag us on Twitter, and that makes me happy. So,
Yeah, Doug.
all right.
Boom.
Here we go. Ricardo also asks, three park days, 1 park per day. Which park do you skip for a family with little kids, a family with teens, an adults only group?
So we gotta pick what we're skipping.
Yep.
With little kids,
Little kids first.
it's a hard one.
If you have to pick one, I'm just going Epcot. We skipped it a lot when they were little. And I get the pros. This could be a whole episode.
Did they have Frozen yet though when they were really little?
They
Derek?
did not. And
So
we've let it go.
I'm gonna skip Animal Kingdom
Ooh,
because
interesting.
I think the Frozen factor. You got Ratatouille now as well. All the characters are back,
Yep.
meeting and greeting. I'm gonna skip Animal Kingdom because they're still lacking in the character meet area, and character meets are like the number one thing little kids like to do.
All right, family with teens, skipping 1 park. Which one is it?
Whew. This is hard with the addition of Guardians.
It is. I
don't
agree.
know, Derek.
I'm going to jump to Animal Kingdom, this because it is such a short day park. And yeah, it's got Everest and Flight of Passage, but then not much more teens are going to love to do. So that's where I'm skipping Animal Kingdom.
I think I'm gonna agree with you.
Okay. Adults only, what are you skipping?
Magic Kingdom.
Really?
I mean, if we're doing true adults only type stuff,
Yep.
there's no
Why,
Tiffin's Lounge.
Going to Nomad Lounge and Animal Kingdom,
or
stuff like
Nomads,
that?
Sorry, I call it Tiffin's, but yeah, it's attached to Tiffin's. Yeah, Nomads. You got, Baseline, Tap House at Hollywood Studios. Epcot essentially is just a giant.
Yeah, Epcot is the must-do
Lounge.
on every adults only trip. I got to do Magic Kingdom. So I'm going to probably skip Animal Kingdom again if it's adults only because it is so short of a park.
That makes it leisurely for the adults.
It does.
I don't
Maybe
know.
if you could drink on safari or eat on the safari.
I mean, who's stopping you? I don't
touche.
know.
That's
No,
good.
you
Don't do
can't.
that,
They're
guys.
stopping
Yes,
you.
they are.
They are.
The
They
animals.
are stopping you.
All right, here we
but,
go.
yeah.
Let's keep going with Ricardo. Best store for souvenirs in each park.
Each park.
Yep.
Well, the Emporium,
Yep.
right? Magic Kingdom. It's just the biggest. And then formerly Mouse Gears, the Connections.
Connections.
Or Creation.
Creations. There it is. Yes.
Hollywood Studios. Is it the Five and Dime? Is that what it's called?
I can't remember what it's called, but actually, I was
Pluto's
going to joke 'cause
Palace.
I love going to the marketplace in Galaxy's Edge to get their like non-Disney Star Wars
The
stuff.
non-Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't know the names of any of the stores.
And then Animal Kingdom is massive right there when you walk
Was
in.
that Critter something?
Someone's yelling at us right now. In fact, all the touring plans travel specialists are yelling at us for not
You know
knowing
what?
that.
The big shops near the entrance to the park.
Always great.
I don't know the names of them because
You could have researched for
don't.
the show.
I did a little
I'm
research.
the host. You're supposed
We'll
to
get
have the
to
names.
that in a moment.
Okay.
But yeah, naming. Do you want me to look that up?
No, we're good. We're good. We
get
got a
on the
lot.
app,
We
Derek.
have so many questions. So Ricardo also asks, safest festival booth at Epcot's festivals.
Safest?
I'm gonna go with you because you have the food allergy. What do you think's the safest?
Safest. That can mean a lot of things.
I
So
know.
first off, anywhere you don't have to use a fork.
Oh wow.
It's facts.
Okay.
And then after that, it is with my food allergy, if we're going that way, is mangoes, cashews, and pistachios. Not a tree nut allergy. They're all fruits, blah, 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 blah. I won't bore you anymore. But it does get challenging because as they try to make food fancy, they put like cashew dust or pistachio dust on things.
They do.
Derek has seen that.
It's
Like,
magic.
why? Why? It's just powdery death. The Hawaiian booth does
one.
not try to kill me,
Yep.
even though it could with mangoes. They're so focused on pineapples. But the safest is like donuts, the donut booth and things like that. It's never the exciting one.
Yep. Like the grilled cheese and tomato soup
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Safe
Yeah.
every
Literally, that's the safest
There
thing
you
for
go.
Doug.
All right.
I struggle.
All
Yeah,
right.
that wasn't an exciting answer at all. I apologize.
Here we go. Moving on to Joe. You get a lifetime lightning lane to one attraction. What are you choosing?
Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the most expensive individual lightning lane, so therefore,
The one you want to
and
choose.
I don't know yet if I can do Tron. I'm optimistic. It's short. It's only a minute.
I know. That's crazy.
So it's
You're
shorter
going
than
to do Tron
Guardians.
with Derek sometime in May.
At some point.
You're doing it May 30th. In fact, we know we'll be there. So if you want to do Tron with Doug and see what happens, May 30th. Janine asks, what's your favorite water park and why? River Country can still count even though it's gone. Lazy River or water slides?
It's Genie, but yep. You met Genie
I
at
did.
the
At
place
the run,
where we're wearing the
yes.
shirt. But before we say that, in Animal Kingdom, it is Island Mercantile.
Oh, that's
and
it.
And Discovery Trading Post, so they're kind of across from each other.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's move on over to Hollywood Studios because I can't just not name things and be considered quality.
Yeah, someone would have left
shopping.
us like a 3-star review for not knowing shopping names.
Mickey's of Hollywood.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
You also have Villains in Vogue and Once Upon a Time and Legends of Hollywood. So there's all kinds of shops. Hollywood Studios got a lot of shops.
They do. They got to make
All
their
right.
money.
Jeannie wants to know what water park we like.
Yep.
Do we have to give a why or just say
name it?
Blizzard Beach.
I've never been to one. It's been on my bucket list for years. It's crazy. I know.
Maybe that's what we're doing on the 30th.
There we go. Going to a water park together. I'm not a water park guy.
And then we go to the Magic Kingdom. I like Blizzard Beach because there's no sand. I don't like sand. Me and Anakin, we agree on one thing. Sand. It gets in everything. You don't like it.
It's getting weird that I've never been to a water park, by the way.
That is.
I know. The
Would
one
it
time
be
we were
weird for
planning
us to go to the water park without our
at this
families?
Point, no. What's weird that we do? It's all for content for the podcast. All right.
Yeah.
What is your favorite restaurant in the Magic Kingdom from Kendra?
I have to eat the Magic Kingdom. So that's probably Columbia Harbor House.
Oh, man. Cinderella's. Come on.
Oh, I mean, am I paying for myself?
It doesn't. She said favorite. I mean, it's great food, great characters, and you eat in a castle. That was easy.
I also like Pecos Bills.
Okay, we looked at that question completely different.
We did.
Back to the Mouse asks, if you didn't have park tickets for a day and didn't want to go to Disney Springs, what would you do on property? Would the answer change if you had an adults-only party versus family with children?
I'm sure it would because adults only would be harder on my liver. Children would probably mainly be the pool, and more pool. I don't know. This question is so hypothetical in my mind. And Joe knows this. This is like the hardest thing he could ask us, isn't it?
It's a good one. I would love to go to Disney Springs. No, the pool would definitely be if you have the family. If you're with adults only, I love touring other resorts, especially different times of year, and an adults only monorail bar crawl.
Right. You get lunch at a resort, go to Disney Springs for a little bit, nap. It's key.
But you said
get a nap
didn't want to go to Disney Springs.
Oh, didn't want to go.
Yeah, that's not an option. What would you do?
Well, yeah, you go lunch at a different resort, right?
Yep.
Go back, take a nap, lay out in the sun. I don't know, work on that tan, and then monorail crawl, like you said, or bar crawl.
I actually got to do an episode on my DVC about the Polynesian if it's a one day there. So I just did that. Yep, it's fun. So there you go.
Yeah.
Next, Angel, do you have any tips for getting dinner reservations for large group, approximately 15, at Be Our Guest?
All right, Angel. I know Angel, so hello, Angel. So big groups, party of 15. Disney doesn't book it. They used to do big groups. Now you can't. So here you go. 3 reservations of 5.
Oh, there you
or a 6, 4, and a 5. That's the recommendation. 3 different reservations for a party of 15.
It is a weird restaurant. Or call the Beast and ask a favor.
Yeah. And, I would definitely hope it's towards the end of your trip, right? So you can do that early booking window. That's going to help you with Be Our Guest as well. But yeah, so 3 parties of 5 is one way to go, or a 6, 4, and 5. Or two. Never mind. Don't do that.
And
Yeah.
let us know what you got.
Yeah.
Dylan asks, hey guys, going to Disney World middle of May. Sad I'm going to be missing you guys by a few days. Hey, you should extend your trip, just saying. But anywho, when looking at getting Tron Virtual Queue, I don't need an actual Genie Plus paid day, correct? Coworker told me I don't, but want all my ducks in a row so I know what to try and get on Tron. Change schedules around so I have more days, especially mornings at Magic Kingdom, just for this. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Keep the magic going.
So it'll be an individual Lightning Lane attraction. So
Yes.
you don't have to pay for Genie Plus separate. Individual Lightning Lanes are a whole separate thing.
And no matter what, grab it at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be like Rise of the Resistance, where it will disappear to anybody not staying on
7
property.
a.m. in 11 seconds.
Yep.
Actually, that will be fascinating how fast that goes.
I bet it'll be pretty quick for quite a while. I really haven't looked hard at the capacity. Where Guardians has a big capacity, and I don't know what the Tron is in comparison. So be
Speaking
interesting.
of Guardians, Jeff asks, how long do you think Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind will remain virtual queue?
What day does Tron open?
April, I can't.
That's your day.
There you go, the
That's
day
my
Tron.
guess.
Yep, I agree.
I don't know that Disney IT can handle 2 virtual queues simultaneously very effectively. So I have my gut feeling is that's when regular standby will reappear.
I agree. There you go. Jeff also says, by the way, your reverse rope drop strategy for Flight of Passage and Rise of the Resistance was clutch. It worked flawlessly on our last trip in October. Thank you for that, episode 301. So, yay, glad that worked out.
Yeah.
Tia asks, are either of you going to Disneyland this year? I'm going later this year and would love to hear you all talk about it.
I am, hopefully.
He is. Well, third time's a try.
I
Charm?
attempted
Whatever.
to go twice over Christmas break. Southwest Airlines decided that was not the week they wanted to fly airplanes. We will say we're going to try to go on Memorial Weekend, and then a trip report will follow. That trip report will probably come out while we're on the Star Cruiser. We'll probably record that like on the 30th and slap it up there somehow.
Okay, we'll have to figure that one out.
Yeah,
Yes.
we will. But that's how that's going to have to work, right?
Yep, I went in September before, right around D23. There is a chance that I'm going to be there in May because we do want to get to, no matter what this year, I'm going to try and get over to Universal to experience Mario and Super Nintendo World. So if I do, I'm going to definitely make a day at Disneyland. My wife has trip to Disneyland without me because she's going to kind of famous concerts, some Taylor Swift, I don't know. So they're going to bookend a day at Disneyland. So she'll be there. We'll have to hear from that.
Yeah, there we go.
Taylor Swift. All right. Don't know if that name's ever been mentioned on the show in 7 years.
I'm
That's
sure
crazy.
it has.
All right. Sarah asks, could you go over delivery to the resort, Amazon or other services? Doug, this is your area of expertise.
I order from Amazon all the time. I do their grocery delivery. So you put in the address of the resort, your name, it gets delivered there. It goes to the Bell Services. You go down once you know it's been delivered, ask Bell Services for it with your name. You pick it up, give them a tip, and you're off to your room.
I order from Doug.
Yeah, you've done that before. Sometimes I will place my order while sitting in the airport for later that night when we'll arrive, things like that. Now, there is a small fee that likes to change regularly, and they sometimes do, and they sometimes don't actually apply it, but they just slap it right on your bill. You never even realize it happened. So you have to ask for an itemized bill before you check out of Disney resorts. Basically, you can't ask after you get home. It doesn't work that way. Disney is like, we're done with you. So the little fee does show up like while you're there, kind of like when they were charging for parking. You know, it was just right in there with that. So, but we have had times where we haven't been charged, have times where we are charged. It varies, but we order from Amazon all the time. There's Garden Grocers is another one. You can also order from just about any of the other places while you're.
They have it down to a science now because it's done so much at Disney World. So. Leah asks, how many times have each of you been to Walt Disney World over your entire life? Which one was your favorite trip, and what was your most magical pixie dust experience? I had to do some math.
Yeah. So what'd you tally up?
Mine 21 times to Walt Disney World.
All right. So Walt Disney World, I did some math. I went 5 times as a child, then my honeymoon, and then kind of the first 3 times with my kids were every 2 years. And then it got crazy after that. So then I had to go into TripIt and count backwards. You can see your past trips that you put into TripIt. And then I had lots of tally marks and slashes. So it's over the 50 number.
There you go.
Yeah. And I know I'm missing some. But there's some cruises that we went on where we did not visit Disney World. We just went straight to the port and straight back to the airport. I did not count it if we just stopped at Disney Springs. I don't feel like that was a
That
trip to
doesn't count.
Disney World.
I agree.
But we've done that like after a cruise.
Over 50, that's impressive. So
Yeah,
the
and
question is,
then-
which is your favorite?
You know, one of those second or third times with the kids when they were real little. And it was just kind of like it went from like the most magical moments to the most disastrous moments of kids puking on things, right?
Yeah.
Like it's they were the most stressful trips when they were little, but also the most magical. Although as they've gotten older, the memories change, and we always come home with some new thing we joke about for the next 6 months or year. And same thing with cruising, but also along with the 50 times to Disney World, I've been to Land 3 times, Paris 1 time, and Marceline's twice.
There you go. Hey, I've been to Land more times than you.
Yeah, how many times have you been to Land, Eric?
It's either 4 or 5. I'd really have to count that. I think it's 5 because I went right when California Adventure opened. I've been to California Adventure 4 times, I think Disneyland, because I always ping a day when I'm in California. So mine's kind of weird with that. I would have to actually count that, but it's either 4 or 5. I have 3 trips that kind of stuck out to me. My honeymoon, of course, magical. Doug and I, Star Cruiser. That whole trip was a lot of fun. And then my full family trip, the one that popped into my mind right away was during the pandemic. We stayed at Kidani. It was safari, 1 bedroom, and that was just such a good trip. After it was height of the not the height, but it was kind of weird part of the pandemic, and it was so good to get away with the family and just enjoy that resort and the time at the parks.
Yeah, I remember that trip for you because you mainly just complained about the buses.
Oh, the
and
buses
that was
were
it.
terrible. That was it. Everything else
That
was
was-
magical.
Yeah.
But what was your most magical pixie dust experience, Doug? I have a lot, but I had one that I think's fun to stick out.
There's a lot. One is when they did Year of a Million Dreams, we got off Living with the Land, and we got lanyards with pins, and not many people have those. Those pins are like super valuable, but I still have them just in a bag in a drawer, driving everybody that collects pins nuts. And then we also later that same day, we got Year of a Million Dream hats that you couldn't buy.
Yeah.
So that was magical. I wish they did a promotion like that again. I mean, they just had the 50th. They're doing the 100th right now. But they're not creating the magic in the same way, I don't think. There's pretty crazy just, oh, here, you get this.
For me, it's when you and I were on the Star Cruiser and we got to launch it. So they always pick one
Yes.
family or one person to launch them into space, and they count down, and everyone's watching you. And I thought that was such a cool experience. Or and the
Yeah.
Rope Drop Radio crew is going to push
Yeah.
in hyperspace. So
And
that was awesome.
it was, and they probably normally pick a cute little kid.
Oh, absolutely. And yet
and
they
here
picked
was us.
Yes.
Yes,
Shout
thanks
out
to our
a good connection at
Matt.
Hashtag find Matt. So
Yeah.
there you go. DCL dude asks, what is the best time of day for a refreshing glass of blue milk?
Did he really type that?
I
The
guess he
computer
did.
allows it?
Yeah, but I do have an answer to this. When you're getting on the Star Cruiser, you
Yes.
have one because it's free, and it's because you're on the Star Cruiser. That's it. That's the only time for blue milk. Don't
Wes,
pay for it.
There's still rooms available
Yes,
on the
join
May
us,
31st
Wes.
Star Cruiser. I will drink blue milk at every meal with you if
Yes.
you go.
Let's do it. Do it,
Yeah,
Wes.
come
All right.
on, Wes.
Matt asks, with Splash Mountain closed, do you consider Tiana's Bayou Adventure a mountain once it opens?
Do you count Mine Train as a mountain?
That's a good question. Well
if we
played.
if you count Mine Train as a mountain, which I know people that do,
Yep.
then it's a mountain.
I think it
If
stays
you-
a mountain.
It's not in the title,
Yeah.
right? That's the change. And so if you count Mine Train as a mountain, you count it as a mountain. If you don't count Mine Train as a mountain because it's not in the title, then I guess you're in that camp. We'll see what comes out on the Etsy t-shirt.
Oh, I love it. How will Tron change the rope drop strategy for Magic Kingdom with and without Genie Plus? That side of the park's going to get fuller fast.
Yeah, it's going to shift the momentum of what you're doing with Genie Plus. It's not going to impact how you rope drop because you're not going to be able to rope drop it.
That's true.
So you're still going to be rope dropping Mine Train or Space Mountain. So
I think a lot more people will actually rope drop Space Mountain just to be over in that area.
Or try to rope drop Tron.
Yeah, that too.
And realize, oh, you can't just go get in line and then, turn around and go to, I don't know, Tomorrowland Speedway instead of Space Mountain because they're already that smart. But yeah, it's not going to impact rope drop much, but you're going to have to prioritize getting that individual lightning lane for Tron and then booking your Genie Plus lightning lane for either Mine Train or Jungle Cruise or Space Mountain. But they said if Mine Train's going back to a regular lightning lane or if it's going to stay individual?
I don't know the answer to that.
I think we'll find out soon.
We will find out soon. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
The House C asks, what are your favorite activities for families either in or around the Disney bubble for non-park days?
Yeah, I think we discovered earlier that we really stink at this question.
We're a pool guy. I mean, it's just we go to the pool, lounge out. Yeah.
We've done water park before on non-park day.
Disney Springs, I love it. Doug doesn't love it as much as I do.
No, I can go and eat a meal and in the amount of time from getting there to my meal, I can shop.
Okay.
Or I can shop on the way back to the bus, but I don't need to spend 3 hours shopping and experiencing the atmosphere of Disney Springs. It's just not me. We've miniature golfed. Their miniature golf is really good. You do want to make reservations in advance. I will warn you, it's one of the worst reservation processes on earth because you have to call.
Some people like to real
phone number
golf.
that takes ever. Yeah, and you can rent clubs too when you real golf. They also have foot golf, one of the golf courses, which is soccer. For those that don't know, so you kick the ball. I want to do that at some point. Maybe when my kids aren't around because they would beat the crap out of me in foot golf.
There you go. All right. Moving on to Instagram. K Carly 12 asks, one ride you'd like to see behind the scenes of, and another topic are have y'all rented DVC? I can't remember if it's been mentioned before. So, ride we'd like to see behind the scenes of, Doug.
So many, Derek.
Oh, I know.
So many. The darker the ride, the
Haunted
better.
Mansion. I've always wondered what that would look like with the lights on.
Haunted Mansion, Tower of Terror, because they use lots of effects in those dark areas. Or Pirates. I think those are the top ones for me.
Haunted Mansion, I feel like it would ruin everything, but I would love to see what it looks like. So, I have never rented DVC points, so we've never talked about it. I don't think Doug has either.
We did once.
Oh, you did?
Won't do it again because it's just stressful.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like the zero flexibility type of. Yeah.
Okay.
It's it was a long time ago. We did not do it again.
Kirsty Feifel is, sorry if I butchered that.
Yeah.
If staying offsite during March break, does relaxing in the morning and heading in when we are ready, 11 a.m.-ish, then start stacking Genie Plus lightning lanes for the afternoon and staying till close work? Also, are Epcot and Magic Kingdom fireworks every day? So, second part, yes.
Yeah, fireworks.
Always fireworks.
Every day that time of year, unless something changes.
Nasty storm.
So you're listening to Rope Drop Radio. So our first advice, rope drop is always valuable.
Important. Yep.
Whether you're on or off property, you can stack for the afternoon even when you rope drop. I think the reason for this question, though, is it is a lot harder to get back to your room, rest, and come back than it is if you're using Disney transportation. It does take a little longer. Some off-property spots, I mean, it can be a solid half-hour drive or more, depending on where you're staying. Even some of the closest places take a long time. So that I can see why you're saying arrive at 11, sleep in, because we advocate for that midday break, right?
Yep.
And that's harder to do when you stay off property. Keep in mind the average guest shows up around 10 to 11 a.m. So you'll be showing up with most of the people.
But it is smart to stack Genie
Yeah.
Plus lightning lanes for the afternoon. That way, even if you do wait, you do have a lot of experiences that you can pretty much walk on there in the afternoon, evening.
You can still nap and stay off property. You truly rope drop. You'll be leaving the park when all those people are showing up. You come in, you hit a couple attractions, right? You go back to your car, you pick up fast food or lunch outside of the property, right?
Yep.
Get off your feet for a little bit. Even if you're just in your car eating lunch, you're off your feet. Get a little nap in maybe back at a room, and then come back to start using those lightning lanes. It's still plausible staying off property. It's not as easy, but it is very possible. And sometimes taking the bus back and forth isn't the most efficient thing either for the nap. So it eats up time whether you're on or off property. I think you still get enough out of rope drop. Plus you avoid the heat of the day. You show up at 11. It's March. If you're from anywhere, towards the north, the heat's going to get you, even though it's not crazy hot in March. You're just not used to it. So by doing early and late with the nap in the middle is still probably the way to go. But yes, you can totally do that plan, but be aware you're showing up with everybody. And if you show up at 11, what time are you eating lunch? Because you don't want to walk in and then go, all right, now we got to get lunch. Because then you're not even getting in line for anything till noon. And that is when the lines are at their longest.
Yep. All right. Nick's Picks asks, do you have any tips on staying at Shades of Green? I've never stayed.
Well, you're not in the military, Derek, so that is why.
Yep.
Not really. We don't, because we're not military. I did stay at that resort once. I was 4, and it was Disney's golf resort at that time. A lot of people walk over to the Polynesian from it and use the Polynesian transportation. It's not like it's directly across the street. It is a little bit of walk. I would rent a stroller if you have little kids for sure.
She also asks, we are on an early flight and plan a park day that afternoon. What are your lightning lane tips for booking while traveling?
All right. So if 7 a.m. you're already on an airplane, I wouldn't trust airplane Wi-Fi to accomplish anything. I would have a friend that you trust, or a Disney friend, or if you have a TA that you're working with, try to have them make a lightning lane at 7 a.m. I don't know if not many travel agents will make lightning lanes, though, because it's a whole nother policy thing with money and whatnot. But I would get somebody to make it if you're on the plane.
If you're not, do it at the airport.
Do it at the airport. Do it, layovers. But anybody can log in. Like, you can have multiple accounts logged into one account. So you can have 4 different people on there trying to make lightning lanes all at the same time under your account if you want to. So we've had friends make lightning lanes for each other while we're in an airplane, right?
That's how you got to do it. Make more friends. More Disney friends.
Yeah.
Magic Key Mama asks, how is the weather in May?
Starting to get warm.
It is, depending on when. It can be great. It can be hot.
Yeah, it's starting to where you're like, oh, it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, she asks, thoughts on Caribbean Beach Resort for a family of 4, mom, dad, 8, and 2-year-old.
Fantastic.
Yeah, great resort. Try to stay on the first floor.
Ask for first floor and ask for Jamaica, be my advice.
That's a good one. So, love it. And then Jill M.R. says, how do you stay cool at Walt Disney World in July?
Drink lots of water, middle of the day
naps. We have
naps.
those cooling packs, by the way. We have different Mickey ones. So cooling towels, so get those wet.
Towels.
My son pretty much needs one constantly in the summer in Walt Disney World.
Just drape that over your neck.
Yep. Yeah. And we just pretty much recool it as often as we can. Final question. Tabalus asks, what's the one thing you want a stressed out Disney loving parent who's taking their 5.5-year-old to Walt Disney World for the first time to know?
Something you wouldn't already know, 5.5-year-old, right? So you already know you have to pack your patience with a 5-year-old. So that's a given. So my advice would be stroller
Yep.
with water in the cup holders.
Rent
So
a
is that
stroller.
one thing?
Sure. One thing.
Hydrate and stroller so that they're not physically exerting minimum amount, because as they get tired, they get cranky.
I would say measure your kid with their shoes on beforehand so you know
Oh.
roughly how tall they are, because one thing you do not want to experience is a kid getting up to a queue and then being told they're too short, because that can lead to a meltdown. So especially when my kids were all shorter, we would measure constantly up into our trip, and we'd have a rough idea on what attractions they could go on, and then talk to them about those attractions too, so they have kind of an understanding and excitement. So then they don't mind waiting in queues as long because they know they're about to experience something cool, maybe for the first time.
That's a good one, Derek. Yeah. Measuring expectations.
I used to keep a portable tape measure in my bag.
That
When my kids were
seems extreme, yeah.
right when they were at that 40-inch mark. It's like, what are we there? Because some rides 40 inches are different from other rides. It's like, who came up with the stick and the? Are you sure? I was going to take it out once. Star Tours is, by the way, the most ridiculous of them all. So
40 and a half.
It's like 40 and some. Which I'm like, they don't need that. I was going to take my tape measure out and measure it once when I was there.
My kids just like shot past it, so we never really had a trip where it was like stressful. Other than one time, we had one time Alden got like in the afternoon. Nope, you're not tall enough for Rock and Roller Coaster. But other than that, we never had a measuring
all
mishap.
3 of my kids, man, we've had that on different trips when they were younger, especially that 40-inch mark. So. We have a question for Patreon, so if you want to hear that, you're going to have to go on the Patreon show. Aaron asks, pro tips on how to do Disney with larger groups, 10 people, 3 through 11, and parents in their 40s. Asking for a friend, but what do I need mentally prepared for that? What are the keys to stress-free multiple family trip? And how do we do the dining thing? I have to make 2 ADRs, everything 6 and 4 or 7 and 3. How can we increase the change that we will still sit together or at least be very close? We leave at the end of next week. That's why it's going to be on the Patreon episode. And I hope everyone appreciates how much screen time I've had to get Topolino's Breakfast, Cinderella's Castle, Space 220, Oga's Cantina, Tusker House, and be our guests for that size group. By the way, love you guys. You've been a huge help as I plan this trip. Thanks so much for all you do. Long question. That is going to be on the Patreon show. So if you want to hear that, you're going to go in the show notes and click the link and support the after show, because we're going to have a lot more after shows and special shows for our Patreons coming up in the next couple weeks. But Doug, that was a lot of questions. We got in just under 50 minutes. So I think that's the most listener questions we've ever gotten.
Right,
least. Remember our first listener question was like 3? So
and
now
they're mostly from
people
Alex
we knew.
And Joe.
Yeah, there you go.
We're like, hey, we need more questions.
Yeah, hit us up. So thank you guys so much for all the questions. If we missed some, if you disagree, let us know. Follow us at Rope Drop Radio on all the things. And be sure to continue to leave reviews so Doug can keep butchering those names on air. But that is all the time that we have, so we will have to get to the Patreon show. And if you're listening to this when it comes out, I have to get back to something at Alani. Pool or food
go
or
back
something.
To the beach there.
So join. It'll be fun. Can't wait to talk about that on next week's episode. But for Doug, I'm Derek. You've been listening to Rope Drop Radio.